Welcome to the inaugural episode of Read 180 Office Hours, live from the Model Schools Conference in Nashville, Tennessee. My name is Alex Sherwin. This is the first episode, so I'll tell you a little bit about the show. It's intended as a vehicle for tools and tips for people in the Read 180 community. Today we're very lucky to have the Abner Doubleday, or Thomas Edison of Read 180, Ted Hasselbring with us here. So I'm just going to start off with the question, Ted. Take us back to the time before Read 180. What was the landscape of educational technology like back then?
Well, we started working around 1984 on what today is Read 180. If you think back to 1984, schools were holding bake sales to buy one Apple IIe for the school. And that was pretty much the state of technology. For us, 1984 is important because that's when Apple released the first Macintosh, which allowed us to move to a graphical user interface, which had never been done before. So that was really very, very important for the development of Read 180.
And I know you spend a lot of time in schools. What's it like to see how the technology has evolved?
Well, it's amazing. I mean, when we started, we had a computer, we had a Laserdisc player, we had 2 monitors, and it took up the desktop for the prototype that what is today Read 180. Today, we can run the whole thing on a tablet. So it's like, in 30 years, it's totally changed from this, big, clunky technology to something that's very user-friendly.
Right. So I joined the Read 180 community about 10 years ago. Very fortunate to be a part of it. What I'm interested in terms of the evolution of the program. Tell us what it was like seeing it initially get into schools. What was it like to see the impact right at the start?
Well, it was interesting because that was around 1998 is when it actually first went into schools. And as you said, 1998, the technology, the videos were delivered on CDs. The kids had to insert their own CD-ROMs to, run the video. But it was exciting because right from the start, we were getting great gains on the part of the kids. These were kids who had struggled throughout their entire school career, lots of failure for those students. And once they saw they could actually learn to read, it changed everything. That was the 180 of Read 180. It turned their lives around.
Right. And so now we're here at the Model Schools Conference. Tell me about how the role of the conference and ICLE and how that relates to the Read 180 universe.
Well, I think Model Schools it's a fantastic conference, and a lot of the participants here, schools that are attending, have Read 180 and System 44 programs that they're using to really make a difference for those students in their schools who struggle with learning. So I was talking with some teachers and administrators earlier today, and they were saying how it really changed the whole culture of the school when, kids come in at the beginning of the year, they're 2 or 3 years behind in reading, and by the end of the year, they've closed that achievement gap. So it's really gratifying to hear those students and teachers talk about how it's changing their lives.
Amazing. So one thing that I forgot to do at the intro was just say that since this is the inaugural episode, we're shuffling a lot of guests in and out. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give you the Read 180 Office Hours mug.
My own mug.
Their own mug. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
You're a titan
right.
of the industry, and thanks again for
Thank
everything.
you. All right.
All right. So next up is come down.
Nice
Victor
to see you again,
Soria.
Alex. Nice to see you.
Victor is the Read 180 Teacher of the Year, and in Modesto, California, Grace Davis High School. and our team had the honor, the true honor of visiting the school just 3 weeks ago, and we got to actually see you in action. So there are a million things I could ask you, but I think what I want to start with is, because I got to see your class. Talk to me about some of the innovations that you've taken, that you've done within the program.
Since starting teaching Read 180, we've moved to one-to-one devices, and really what I've tried to implement is putting that technology to use, so my students are able to log into their data, see their data, and track it daily. The main thing that I've tried to implement is using technology so that I can get instant feedback. So having that feedback really allows me to teach them and to know that they're getting what I'm trying to teach. So things like Pear Deck Live.
Things like what?
Pear Deck.
Tell everybody what Pear Deck is.
So Pear Deck is a way for me to give students shared data with them. So if I ask a question, they see the question and they can instantly provide feedback and answers.
Right.
I see that feedback and I can monitor whether or not they're getting the material. So it really gives me live, up-to-date feedback as to whether or not my teaching is effective, and I can change it on the spot.
So one thing I should have said at the start is to talk about the school itself and the program that you're in. So tell everybody about your students, about the institute at your high school.
Okay, so we teach, it's called the Language Institute. 38 countries, and I think at last count 18 different languages were taught. There are 7 high schools in the district. So we teach newcomers who have been new to the country less than 4 years, and we put them into Read 180 and System 44, and we progress them as quickly as possible. So when a student is ready to progress to Read 180, they bump right out of System 44, they go into Read 180. And as soon as a student is ready to go into CP English classes, we bump them right out of Read 180. So we progress them as quickly as possible, and I love that program.
Yeah, I mean, seeing it firsthand was so incredible. The kids I mean, one thing that's interesting, I was talking about this with Ted before, was that one thing that you certainly don't have to deal with is motivation in your classroom. These kids are motivated.
No, well, don't put that out there, because it's really, the reason I won my award is because my students are so motivated. So I tell them all the time.
It's all you, it's not them.
I tell them, it's you. But if anybody asks, you tell them it's all me.
All right.
But my students work so hard that there's that motivation is already built in. So really my job is to harness that motivation and give them the tools to use it and be active learners.
Right. So what do you have planned for next year? Anything different in your classroom?
I'm constantly modifying and updating my lessons daily, and the summer is really a time to reflect. Read 180 does such a good job at providing me data. So I look at that data, I determine what worked in my classroom, what didn't work in my classroom, and how can I improve what I did from the previous year.
You know what I'd actually like you to talk about that I saw in your classroom that was so cool, was you did was it a 1,000,000-word challenge?
Oh, okay. So the first year I taught Read 180, we had a 12 million word count, which included the books and the software. So that was kind of my target goal for every year. Last year, my class went above and beyond, and they read 13.38 million words. So I challenged my students at the beginning of the year, the goal is 12 million, it's always 12. But if you guys can beat last year's goal, I will dye my beard. Green and yellow for school colors. And they said, no, we really want to see a pink beard. And I said, well, I can do pink for a day. And they said, no, we want a full week. So the last week of school, I showed up with a bright pink beard. I had to go to graduation ceremonies and take pictures and with a pink beard, and it took about 2 weeks to wash out.
That's great. All right, well, we're really moving things quickly. It was really great to talk to you. Thank you. Take your
and a big shout out to Grace Davis High School.
Okay, now I'm going to remember to do the mug thing.
All right.
Hi, Andrea. So, the next guest is Andrea Barnes. You are a Read 180 blogger, so tell us about your Read 180 background first.
Okay. I've been teaching Read 180 for 9 years, and I taught 4 years of middle school Read 180, and now I'll be starting my 5th year of high school Read 180. Because I figure if you have trouble reading in middle school, you still have time to work it through it, but in high school, if you have trouble reading, you're so close to the real world that I wanted to make sure that every student was prepared to go out and have a successful life.
Right. And where was this?
In Houston, Texas,
Okay.
at Cypress Fairbanks ISD.
And how long have you been a Read 180 blogger?
I've been a Read 180 blogger for 7 years, since 2010.
So what's your? Do you have like a beat? Like what's your Read 180 beat?
My blog is a Passport to Success blog where we travel the world through our readings of the R book and the real book, and also the instructional software. I just want the students to see there's a whole world out there, and once they've read about it, maybe they'll go travel. I love to travel, and so I just want them to see that as a teenager, they're kind of centrally, they think the world revolves around them, and I want them to see there's a whole world out there for them to explore, and even if they can't afford to go there, they can still read and find out about new places.
And so how long? When was your first Read 180 class?
My first Read 180 class was in
Oh, Stumper.
2000. Yeah. Oh, I love it so much that I don't really. I don't think about. I'm in my. I'll start my 29th year of teaching, and so every year is just as great as the year before, and so I kind of lose track of time. So.
And so, what kind of feedback do you get from the Read 180 community through your blog?
Through my blog? Well, my blogs can work in elementary, middle school, and high school. So teachers from every different age group respond, and they can use everything that I've posted. I've tried in my classroom, and so they can use those in their classroom. And if it's an elementary teacher using it, they can make it a little bit easier so it can accommodate their students.
And so, do you have a tip of the year? What's hot in the Read 180 blogosphere?
I think right now, what all of us face is that we want all of our students to love reading and enjoy coming to our classroom. And so I try and use in my classroom exciting ideas that they'll be able to take back into their other classes. And the most exciting thing is when you have a student that does an assignment in your class and it helps with their readability level, and then it carries over into their other subject matters.
Well, as I've been saying, we're shuffling people in and out. It was really great to talk to you.
Okay.
Enjoy your mug. I think we're going. Show the. Oh, that Tim does that. Yeah. Show the right. Sorry. Inaugural episode. Boom. There we go. Okay. Boom. Oh yes. Yes, I forgot my host duties there for a second.
How are
Scott,
you,
nice to see you. Here's your mug.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so Scott, you are the success blogger, is that right?
Yeah, so I write the Read 180 Stage A blog, which is for teachers and students in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. One of my favorite things to write about is the individual student success stories. Every year we have these 1 or 2 or 3 kids who don't just improve, but Read 180 dramatically changes their life. They'll go up in Lexile 700, 800 points in a year or 2.
Hold on. Let's show Scott's screen. So Scott, I'm putting your blog on the screen now. No, I'm not. Shouldn't it be covered? Oh, okay. Well, Scott has a blog and it's on my screen. It might not be on there. Anyway, so well, tell us some success stories recently that you've written about.
So the 2 recently I wrote about was Carla and Julianese. Both very similar stories. They both came from Spanish-speaking backgrounds, came to America knowing no English whatsoever, and over the course of 2 or 3 years were able to achieve reading proficiency and become excellent students on honor roll, doing well in all their classes, loving to come to school. So it really did a Read 180. It really changed their lives. And I feel like sharing it can not only be an inspiration for them, because it puts a spotlight on what they've accomplished, but it can also serve as motivation for other students and even hopefully other teachers.
Right. And And so how has that perspective of having a blog and hearing from so many people, how has that changed you as a teacher?
I think it makes you think more about the things you're doing. You have this wider web of influence. So if I come up with something neat that works in my room, that's awesome, and it helps my 18 or my 30 kids. But if I can come up with a good tip that maybe a couple hundred teachers will read about and implement, I can actually reach thousands of students and improve it, even just by a little bit, improve their lives.
Right. And what we're hoping is that this show becomes a vehicle for tips like that, and we can even spread them more widely.
Absolutely.
So the idea is that in the future episodes, which will be modeled slightly different, we're not going to be doing it at conferences all the time. We're going to be doing it in the office. Is that we'll have one or two guests, and we'll come on with specific tips that we'll even walk through.
Right,
So
I
if
think
you
that'd be
have
excellent.
a certain way of using the Groupinator, if you have, like Victor has a certain motivational tools, then we'll come on and you'll explain how that happens.
Absolutely.
So we look forward to having you back.
Excellent.
And this has been a great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Pleasure.
All right, let's keep going. Oh, forgot your mug. There you go. There you go.
Oh,
Hello,
thank you.
nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Okay, so this is Dee Wicker. Dee, you are a master teacher,
Yes.
so that's impressive. So tell us about being a master teacher. We'll get into the blog. We'll start with master teacher. Life as master teacher.
Okay. I have worked with Read 180 since 1999, and I have a knowledge of all of the systems that we have had in the Read 180 program. So I've learned all the little ins and outs, and I also have a lot of ideas from classrooms. I've been in lots of Read 180 classrooms, so I have learned over the years many of the answers that people ask.
So you were teaching, I presume, like some kind of language arts before Read 180, and then became a Read 180 teacher?
I began in technology.
Oh, I see.
So,
Okay.
but I have supported the Read 180 teachers pretty much full time since 1999.
Uh-huh.
And both in how to teach reading and how to handle the technology.
Right. So you had a front row seat of seeing how technology, specifically through Read 180, can really transform a classroom.
It transforms students, and it changes the way that they respond to the teacher, and therefore they begin to learn to read when they haven't learned to read before.
Yeah. So what have you been blogging about lately?
Well, I usually answer questions online. I take a look at, I follow the discussions which are in the Ask and Share. I get many over time. In fact, I see one up there now is reading inventory, and I get lots of questions about the reading inventory.
So can you cut to the screen or no? It's not working for some reason. Oh, hold on one second.
Okay.
I know how to do this. I'm gonna go like that. Oh boy. Now I'm gonna go like, now we're seeing it. Okay, sorry. Now we're seeing your screen.
Yeah, many
Okay.
questions come up in the assessment section about the reading inventory, and I can answer, what is normal growth, or why do the students' scores go down? Those kinds of things. Some people even ask, what does Alexile mean?
Okay.
So I can.
So
do
that's going to be great for this show too. It's really like a service. You've been with the program so long that people just come to you and ask a lot of questions. So that's
Yes, they do. I deal with Ask and Share, and then there's Ask a Master Teacher, which is part of that drop down. So they can ask me questions that deal with their specific classroom. For instance, one of the questions that's come in as we've been doing this was, will there be a community for Universal, teachers of Read 180 Universal? And we already handle the questions for teachers of Read 180 Universal right here in the community.
Fantastic. I think we're good. I think we're. Did I give you your mug?
You did.
Oh,
Thank you.
let's have a cheers.
Cheers, if I can hold it. Thank you.
All right. Great to meet you.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh, right. This was a good, we're figuring it out here. Boom. Boom. Let's bring on Nicole Foster. I think we should hug.
We can hug.
Let's hug. Nicole, this is Nicole Foster.
Hi, everyone.
I actually don't even know your title right now. You got some kind of a promotion. Tell us.
So, hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Foster, and I lead our product marketing and our product management for all of the intervention programs we have in Houghton Mifflin Harcourt.
Okay, but one of the things that makes Nicole so great and such a great marketer and such a great product developer and such a great
Thanks, Alex.
Read 180 teammate is that you were a Read 180 classroom teacher.
I was. So after college, I taught in New York City public schools. And my second year of teaching, I actually started using Read 180 in my classroom. And it was such a huge game changer for me as a teacher because I, as a teacher in grad school, didn't really know how to work with struggling readers, and it really gave me the tools to do that. But I think even more importantly, I worked in a self-contained classroom, and I have 15 students who I'm still really close with and who are thriving now. We have kids who are going off to college right now, kids who are transitioning out of special education. So I've had the opportunity to sort of stand in our teachers' shoes and understand what they're going through, and really use that perspective to help build out our products to make sure they work for both teachers and students.
So you kind of answered this, but it's my question.
Okay.
Which is just, so what has it been like for you to have that perspective shift to go from being on the front lines, affecting the kids in your classroom, to stepping back and on the program level and seeing the whole, the full landscape?
Well, I think my classroom experience gave me the foundation to understand what do teachers need to be successful, and what do we need to do to help empower our students. And I think what I've been able to do is now, being at HMH, really being able to think about how do you scale that? How do you take that foundation and think about replicating that and scaling that across classrooms, across districts, across states, across the country. And I think the foundation of that is really understanding what good instruction looks like, and having that experience in the classroom has really allowed us to really keep teachers at the center of what we do when we build. And that's the most important, because if we know teachers can be successful, we know that they can impact kids' lives.
Which is a great segue into model schools.
Yeah.
So what is the role, what do you see your role, and Read 180's role as part of the Model Schools Conference?
So Read 180 is an important lever for our teachers in schools that are transforming performance. It really is a lever that allows teachers to be able to leverage what they do best, which is working with their students, and really being able to differentiate their work and using the data that comes from that adaptive software to really empower them, but also give them the tools that they need to be successful. And so we have Read 180 implementations where we have seen transformative results for kids. And so Model Schools is a great opportunity for many different Read 180 implementations to be able to share what they have learned and share those best practices, but also be able to take that and then tailor it to other districts around the country. So we're excited about what the power of the program can do, but it's so much greater than that. It's those teachers and districts bringing it to life and allowing us to see what those best practices are, and then being able to dialogue with them to be able to understand how can I take that and make that work in my district.
So bringing it back to the program, what are your favorite aspects of Read 180 Universal?
So I love Read 180 Universal, and I think one of the greatest enhancements that we made for this time around was really focusing on the whole child, and specifically through focusing on growth mindset. Mindset's half the battle. Making sure our kids believe in themselves and believe that with the right tools and the right attitude, they can move their performance further, but also giving the teachers the tools to be able to do that has been a huge game changer. When we go out to schools and we talk to teachers, we found that one little piece has made a huge difference in terms of how kids see themselves, but also how teachers see themselves and their ability to be a lever for change in their classrooms.
That's great. Well, that's a great note to end on. Let's end with a cheers.
Cheers.
To the inaugural episode.
And join us on July 13th for our next Read 180 office hour. We're going to be joined by an amazing implementation manager, Kimberly Mosby, who's joining us from California. And we're going to be talking about systems of accountability in your classroom. So it's going to be a great conversation, lots of practical tools and tips to take away and get back to school 2017 off on the right foot.
All right.
Thanks, guys.